Imagine holding a small, unassuming piece of metal in your palm. It's dirty, it's scratched, and at first glance, it looks like the loose change you might toss into a jar and forget about for years. But for a select group of people, those who know exactly what to look for, this specific nickel is the stuff of dreams. We aren't talking about a gold bar or a crown jewel. We are talking about a 1981 Jefferson Nickel. Now, I know what you're thinking. A nickel from 1981? It's modern. It's common. But what if I told you that one tiny, microscopic detail on this coin could turn a 5-cent piece into a $1,000 payday? There is something hypnotic about the hunt for treasure in the ordinary. We spend our lives surrounded by currency, trading it away without a second thought. Yet, buried within the billions of coins circulating through our economy are rare, accidental masterpieces. The 1981 Jefferson Nickel, specifically those minted in Denver, represents a turning point in how collectors view the modern era. It's a story of precision, high-speed machinery, and the occasional beautiful error that changes the history of a coin forever. To understand why this nickel matters, we have to travel back to the early 1980s. The United States was in a state of flux. Disco was dying, the digital revolution was just beginning to stir, and the United States Mint was struggling to keep up with a massive demand for coinage. The Denver Mint was a powerhouse, churning out millions of coins to keep the economy moving. On the obverse of our nickel, we see Thomas Jefferson, a founding father, a polymath, and the third president of the United States. His profile has graced this nickel since 1938, a testament to the endurance of American history. On the reverse, we find the iconic Monticello, Jefferson's beloved Virginia estate. But the real story isn't in the design. It's in the process. When you look at the lower right corner, just to the right of the date 1981, you might see a small stamped D. That D is the mark of the Denver Mint. In the world of numismatics, the mint mark is everything. It is the signature of the factory. And in 1981, the machines in Denver were running hot. Collectors are obsessed with the concept of the full steps. If you look at the base of Monticello on the reverse of the coin, there are 6 delicate lines representing the stairs leading up to the house. Over time, as die presses wore down, those lines would often blur together. To find a 1981 nickel where those steps are crisp, perfectly defined, and fully separated, that is the holy grail for a condition-conscious collector. These are the coins that haven't just survived. They have defied the odds. They are the survivors of the chaotic journey from the bank vault to your pocket. Why does this matter so much? Because rarity is defined by condition. While millions of these nickels were minted, the number of them that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, or those that feature the highly coveted full steps, is shockingly low. Most of these coins spent decades in cash registers, under sofa cushions, or rattling around in cup holders. They are scarred by reality. To find one that looks as if it were minted yesterday is to find a time capsule. But there is a darker, more mysterious side to this story. In the world of coin collecting, we often hunt for the mistakes. We look for double dies, where the master die shifted during the striking process, creating a ghostly, overlapping image. We look for clipped planchets, where the coin was sliced by the press during production. While the 1981 isn't as famous for dramatic errors as the 1955 double die penny, it serves as a reminder that every coin in your hand is a unique product of industrial friction. When you look at that 1981 date, you aren't just looking at a year. You are looking at a moment in time where a machine, pressurized to thousands of pounds, forced metal into a mold. Most came out perfect. Some came out slightly off-center. And a very few came out in a state of perfection that defies the passage of time. There is a strange, quiet thrill in searching through a bag of nickels. You might spend hours looking at unremarkable metal, your thumb tracing the edge of each coin, turning it over, checking the mint mark, squinting at the steps of Monticello. Your eyes get tired, your patience wears thin, and then there it is, the D. The crisp, sharp steps, the luster of the original mint finish still clinging to the surface. In that moment, the rest of the world fades away. You aren't just a person looking at change. You are a historian, an archaeologist, a treasure hunter. The value of these coins is a subject of constant debate. Some might say it's just 5 cents. But to a collector, it's a piece of the American puzzle. It represents the labor of the Denver Mint workers, the economics of the early Reagan years, and the sheer persistence of the hobby itself. It is a reminder that we don't need a map to buried pirate gold to be treasure hunters. We just need a little curiosity and a keen eye. As we look at the future of currency, with digital payments and cryptocurrencies becoming the norm, the physical coin is slowly becoming a relic. These nickels are artifacts of a tactile past. They are the last bastions of a time when wealth was something you could actually touch. Every time a coin is taken out of circulation, the pool of potential finds shrinks. The 1981 D nickel becomes just a little bit rarer, a little bit more significant, and a little bit more precious. So, the next time you find a handful of change, don't just dump it into a jar. Take a second. Pull out the nickels. Look at the date. Look for that D. And then hold it up to the light and look at those steps on Monticello. You might just be holding a piece of history that is worth far more than its face value. Who knows what you might find hidden in plain sight? What is the rarest coin you have ever found in your spare change? And does it have a story behind it? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden treasures of the everyday world. Happy hunting! Imagine holding a small metallic disc in your palm. A piece of history worth mere cents, yet potentially concealing a fortune. You've likely held hundreds, perhaps thousands, of nickels in your lifetime. They jingle in your pockets, they disappear into vending machines, and they are forgotten in the bottom of purses. But what if I told you that one specific nickel, tucked away in the circulation of 2010, possesses a secret so profound it has collectors scrambling through banks and coin rolls across the nation? This isn't just about spare change. It is about a rare intersection of minting history, human error, and the obsession that drives the world of numismatics. We are talking about the 2010 D. Thomas Jefferson Nickel. To the untrained eye, it looks exactly like the billions of other nickels produced that year. But there is a specific, elusive variant that has set the collector community on fire. We are chasing the myth and the reality of the 910K, a term that sends a shiver down the spine of treasure hunters. Why would a standard nickel from the post-recession era carry such weight? To understand the mystery, we have to look back at the face on the coin. Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, has been gracing the nickel since 1938. His profile, stoic and intellectual, represents the very foundations of American democracy. In 2005, the United States Mint gave the nickel a makeover, introducing the Westward Journey series, which eventually settled back into the refined portrait we see on the 2010 issue. But the story of our coin begins not in the halls of Monticello, but in the chaotic, high-speed environment of the Denver Mint. The D mint mark is the key. It signifies that this coin was struck in the Mile High City. In the world of coin collecting, the location of production is everything. A D might be common, but the circumstances surrounding the 2010 D production are shrouded in metallurgical debates. When people speak of the 910K in this context, they are often referring to a specific, almost legendary misconception or an extreme rarity regarding the metallic composition or a striking anomaly that has transcended into a collector's holy grail. You see, for decades, the standard composition of a U.S. nickel has been 75% copper and 25% nickel. It is a workhorse alloy, durable and unremarkable. But every so often, the machines falter. A blank meant for a different coin, a planchet composed of a different precious metal, or a massive strike error slips through the intense quality control of the Denver facility. When that happens, the coin ceases to be currency and becomes an artifact. It becomes an anomaly. Think about the sheer scale of production at the Denver Mint. Millions of coins are churned out every single day. The pressure is immense, the machinery is deafening, and the pace is relentless. In that environment, perfection is the goal, but error is the human reality. When a collector finds a coin that deviates from the norm, perhaps a slight shift in the die, a missing mint mark, or, in the most extreme cases, a composition discrepancy, the value of that item skyrockets. It transforms from 5 cents into hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. But why does the 2010 D command such attention? It is because of the stories we tell ourselves. There is a psychological thrill in searching through change. It is the modern-day equivalent of panning for gold in the riverbeds of the old frontier. You are gambling with your time, hoping that the next coin you pull from a roll will be the one that changes your financial trajectory. The 2010 nickel has become a symbol of that hope. Consider the history of Thomas Jefferson himself. He was a man who understood value, property, and the legacy of the nation. If he knew that a coin bearing his image would one day spark such intense scrutiny and speculation, he might find it fascinating. He was a man of science and observation. The collectors today are practicing the very same principles. They are using magnifying glasses, digital microscopes, and exhaustive research to uncover the secrets hidden in the strike of 2010. When you hold this nickel, look closely at the lettering. Look at the edges. Look at the transition between the portrait and the field of the coin. Collectors look for double dies, where the image appears to be stamped twice. They look for clash dies, where the image of the reverse has ghosted onto the obverse. These are the physical scars of the minting process, and to a collector, these scars are beautiful. They tell the story of a machine that stuttered, a moment where the assembly line hiccuped, and a unique piece of metal was born. There is a sense of melancholy in how we treat our coins today. We are moving toward a digital economy, where physical cash is becoming a relic of the past. As we digitize our lives, the tangible weight of a nickel feels almost nostalgic. These coins are the last physical remnants of a massive industrial economy. When you find a rare 2010D, you aren't just finding a coin. You are preserving a moment in time that is slowly fading away. So, how do you know if you have found the one? You need patience, you need a steady hand, and you need to understand that the rarest finds are often the ones no one else is looking for. It is not always the high-grade, pristine coins that fetch the most money. Sometimes, it is the worn, battle-hardened coin that tells the best story. The coin that has traveled through thousands of hands, across thousands of miles, to end up in your pocket. Are you prepared to look at your change differently? The next time you receive a nickel from a cashier, don't just shove it into your pocket. Take a second. Look at that demint mark. Look at the date. Look at the detail of the hair, the precision of the lettering. You might be staring at a simple coin, or you might be holding a tiny, metallic treasure that has been waiting for years for someone to finally recognize its true worth. The hunt is never really about the money. It's about the discovery. It's about the feeling of uncovering something that the rest of the world has overlooked. It's about the connection to the history of the mint and the legacy of the figures on our currency. Whether you find the legendary error or simply find a new appreciation for the humble nickel, you are participating in a tradition that spans generations. What is the most unusual coin you have ever found in your spare change? Have you ever spent hours searching through rolls, fueled by the hope of that one elusive find? Share your stories in the comments below. The hunt is always on, and your next discovery could be just a transaction away. Keep your eyes sharp, keep your collection growing, and never stop looking at the history sitting right in your hand. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket change that could pay off your mortgage, fund a dream vacation, or set you up for life. We've all heard those legendary stories, the one-in-a-million error coin that turns a humble 5-cent piece into a small fortune. But today, we're peeling back the curtain on a specific mystery that's been buzzing through the collecting community. The 2022 Jefferson Nickel and the wild, often confusing rumors of massive six-figure values. If you've heard the whispers about a 922K nickel, you're not alone. It's a story that sounds like a treasure hunter's dream. But before you start frantically checking every coin in your jar, we need to talk about the difference between internet hyperbole and the reality of numismatic history. Is there really a nickel worth nearly $1 million? Or are we chasing a ghost in the machine? To understand why this specific coin captures our imagination, we have to go back to the source. The Jefferson Nickel has been a staple of American commerce since 1938. For over 80 years, the stoic profile of the third president has watched over our transactions. In 2022, the Philadelphia Mint, marked by that elusive little P, churned out millions of these coins. Most are just currency, but in the chaotic, high-pressure environment of a minting facility, mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are where the magic and the money is found. When the massive presses at the Philadelphia Mint slam down with tons of pressure, a fraction of a second can be the difference between a perfect strike and a mint error. We're talking about die cracks, where the steel used to stamp the coin begins to fracture, leaving raised, jagged lines across the surface. We're talking about die chips, where a tiny piece of that metal breaks off, creating bizarre, blob-like distortions on the coin's face. Some collectors even find strike-through errors, where debris, a piece of wire, a fragment of grease, or a stray bit of metal, gets caught between the die and the coin blank, leaving a haunting, ghost-like impression that shouldn't be there. These are the treasures of the modern era. When you see a 2022p nickel listed online with descriptions like rare reverse long die crack or die chip on the F, you're looking at these anomalies in action. They are fascinating, they are unique, and they are genuine pieces of mint history. But here is where the story takes a turn. The number 922K has circulated in forums and social media, often conflated with rare coins or misunderstood auction data. But if you're looking for a 2022 nickel that's sold for nearly $1 million, you won't find it. The reality of the market is far more grounded, though still exciting. A standard, pristine 2022p Jefferson Nickel, especially one that grades out as full steps, with sharp detail on the columns of Monticello, is a beautiful piece of craftsmanship. It might fetch a few dozen or even $50 to a serious collector looking for perfection. Error coins, depending on the severity and visibility of the mistake, can jump in value from a few dollars to a few hundred. But why does the legend persist? Why do we want to believe in the $1 million nickel? It's the thrill of the hunt. There is a primal satisfaction in looking through a pile of dull, ordinary change and finding something that doesn't belong, something with a story, a flaw, or a signature of the massive industrial process that created it. It's the lottery ticket mentality that keeps the hobby alive. Every time you flip over a nickel to check the mint mark, you are participating in a tradition that spans centuries. You are, in that moment, a prospector. The true value of the 2022p Jefferson Nickel isn't necessarily in a bank account. It's in the connection to the process. It's about the fact that even in our automated, digital world, physical objects still carry the chaos of reality. A die crack is a scar of production. It's proof that a machine worked hard, struggled, and eventually failed. That's history you can touch. So, should you keep checking your change? Absolutely. While you might not find a $922,000 payday, you might just find a beautiful die crack or a crisp, high-grade specimen that completes a set or adds a unique character to your collection. The real fortune is the curiosity that keeps you searching. Before you put that nickel away, look closely at the reverse. Look at the columns of Monticello, the lettering, the edges. Do you see a jagged line running through the building? Is there an extra blob on the word 5? Maybe you've found something that's one of a kind. Have you ever found an error coin in your own pocket change? Or are you still holding out for that holy grail find? Let us know your best discovery in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden world of rare coins and the stories behind the metal in your pocket. Happy hunting!